Today on the table, we have a Smith and Wesson Model 27. So this is a 357 revolver, and I'll show you here. 6-shot 357 right here. Now this one is just a Model 27. This is a no-dash Model 27. So we can look here as the serial number. It is an S serial number, so it is one of the older ones. When I did the serial number research on this one, I think it was right around like it was early 1960s is when I did the serial number pull on this one. And we'll go over too, because this is an S. They did some changes on their serial numbers and changed it to an N, which are some of the later date ones. So this is a much earlier one, and you can see here it is a double diamond grip one as well. But I want to go over just some cool features about this. If you guys remember, I did a video on a Model 28 like last week or the week before, so definitely go check that one out. It's basically this exact same gun, but with a duller finish that they used for the highway patrol and a lot of police departments. So again, 6-shot double revolver, or double action revolver. It's 357 like I'd mentioned before. It was first produced in 1935, and obviously there's been many production or variations of that today. But the Model 27, this is a carbon steel, it's a big end frame revolver. And you can see it has an adjustable rear sight here on the back, and then just your standard notch sight here on the front. It came in quite a few different barrel lengths. There was 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 8 3/8, 8 3/4, and then 10 and 5/8 were all the different lengths that they came in. Eventually that got trimmed down to a lot less than that, but we'll go over that here in a minute. But when it was first came out in 1935, it was known as the registered Magnum. So if you guys ever look at one of those are expensive. So if you find registered Magnums, Cabela's and quite a few other different sites, auction sites, Gunbroker and stuff like that, they have them for sale, and they are going for a pretty penny. They did each come with a certificate of authenticity, even when they ordered them. And now keep in mind, in 1935, when they made them, that was during basically still the Great Depression. So there was not much money, and they were very expensive revolvers back in the day. But the crazy thing is that, they were still in really high demand. They were actually backlogged for orders for them. And they made them in a crazy amount of different barrel lengths back then on the registered Magnums. You could get them in any 1/4-inch barrel length, starting at 3.5 and up, which is pretty crazy. So you could get any different length. I mean, 1/4 of an inch is hardly anything on those different sizes. The other cool things that you could do too for the customization on them was they had different grips, different front sights, different triggers, different hammers, and then obviously different finishes. And then each one, like I mentioned before, each one comes with a certificate. So when they made them, they had an authenticity certificate sent with each one. And I imagine it probably had your name on it because you were the one that ordered it back in the day when they were making them. So it's just kind of cool that, even during the Great Depression, people were still ordering them. And it'd be fun to find out how much they were, what the difference in the prices were, what the fluctuation was. So anyways, they made those for a while. And then in 1939, they stopped producing the registered Magnums, and it was replaced with this, which is the Model 27. And it was available in 3.5, 5, 6, 6.5, and then 8 3/4. And that ironically was the most common barrel lengths that the registered Magnums were actually ordered in. So they just ended up just making the 27s with those most common barrel lengths. So pretty slick in that one. But the other thing too was when they made these 27s, and because they made those more specific barrel lengths, that made manufacturing a lot faster, so they could produce a lot more of these a lot quicker. Now when the police department, like I mentioned in the 28 video, police departments, they found that they didn't need this high finish. I mean, these are really pretty, this high blue finish on here, and obviously it took more to finish that. The police departments didn't want that for the Model 28s. And that's why they came up with the 28s. They said, hey, make us these guns, but don't make them as fancy. Just make them so we can use them for a tool because we're in the police. And that's when they started making those muted finish, or the, just a more dull finish, so it doesn't show fingerprints and it doesn't have the shiny sheen to it. And it was cheaper for Smith and Wesson to manufacture, and then cheaper for the police departments to buy on those 28s. So pretty cool on that. So just, you know, no polishing is basically what it was. So with these here, so again, these 27s were made from, and the registered were made from 1935 to 1994. So they stopped making the Model 27 in 1994. And then they actually reintroduced it. So the old ones were considered the original model. And then in 2008 until now, they call it the classic model is what they call the new current ones. And this one, like I said, is from, I think, right around 19. I'd have to pull it back up. You guys can do that if you want to. Here's the serial number. I think it was like 1960. It's an S serial number, as you can see here. It was like right around 1960. I wanted this one because I wanted the earliest one that I could find. And I've had this one for a while. Had it before I bought the 28. So just a couple things, like on the 27-2s, they got rid of the 6.5-inch barrel, similar to like what they did with the Model 29s. And then in 1968, they got rid of the double diamond. I call it the double diamond, but they just say delete diamond grip, which is this center diamond here. So anytime you find a Smith and Wesson and it has this diamond grip, it's going to be one of the older models of its variation. And then in 1969, they changed to N serial numbers. They started serial numbering them with an N. So this one, as you see, because it's an S, it's much earlier than that. And then in the big thing, again, for us collectors, is in 1982, on these, they eliminated the pin, and that was the 27-3s. They eliminated the pin and the recessed cylinders. But again, I always like to find ones that are pinned with recessed cylinders. That's what I look for. But yeah, anyways, Model 27. Watch the video on the Model 28. It's basically this exact same pistol, just in a duller finish. And what I'll do is maybe I'll make a video of the 28 and the 27, or sorry, the 27 and the 28, or maybe I'll even throw the 29 in there too, so everybody can see all three of them, or all, you know, them all together. But if you have any ideas like that, you know, shoot that in the comments.